Another of Pat's personal portraits. I try to bring you fascinating people who have led fascinating lives, and I don't know whether you consider James Hamm's life to be fascinating as much as frightening. James Hamm spent 17 years?
More or less.
17 years in a prison, having been convicted with a 25-year to life sentence for murder. Who did you kill?
Willard Morley.
Tell me about him.
Willard Morley was more or less a dropout at college who came to Arizona to purchase drugs and take them back to Missouri. He was just another young man, like so many in our society.
And why did you kill him?
It was a drug deal gone bad, and what happened was it turned from a drug sale into a drug ripoff, and then the scene exploded and it ended up in murder.
Were you a Kansas kid gone bad?
I was a Kansas kid who was having very severe mental difficulties and involved in the drug scene at the same time. Those things were overlapping.
Had you been diagnosed?
No.
Why?
I had never seen a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I was living on the street, and I was just experiencing very severe symptoms. Buzzing in my head, the sounds of people being very distant, not being able to track with things, aware of the fact that I was having severe mental difficulties, but not knowing what to do about it.
Those things often don't go away in a person's life. In your case, while you were in prison, you traded those problems for an undergraduate degree. You actually studied and had a college education while you were in prison.
Well, my mental difficulties culminated in a psychotic break with reality. That was the crime. And then I pled guilty and went to prison. And while I was in prison, I spent all of my time, or most of my time, working on myself. And I was fortunate enough to meet some people who gave me information that was helpful to me about Jungian psychology, the psychology of the unconscious. And then later on, after I became stabilized, there was a program from Northern Arizona University that came down to the prison at Florence, and they offered a bachelor's degree program in sociology with an emphasis in corrections to both prisoners and guards. We attended in the same class at the same time.
And then you got a law degree when you got out. You were paroled.
Yes.
And you got a law degree, but why don't you practice law?
The Character and Fitness Committee would not pass on me, and when I appealed to the Arizona Supreme Court, they said no.
How many times did you try?
Once.
Why didn't you try again?
Their decision, it's a published decision, and it's clearly a go away and leave us alone decision. I mean, you don't have to be, it's clearly a go away and leave us alone decision.
But there are different people now making those decisions.
Yes.
Do you care about having acquired all of the requirements and yet you still can't practice law? Does that bother you?
Well, let's say that I am disappointed because I think I could have offered law something that it doesn't have, but I am not upset about it on a personal level. I work as a paralegal for criminal defense attorneys. I work as a paralegal for civil rights attorneys. I am able to support myself and my family. I'm able to still assist Middle Ground Prison Reform, the organization that my wife formed. And so, no, I mean, other than the fact that there's some regrets about and disappointments about what I could have done, no.
What if a prisoner right now is watching this? Can he get a college degree while he's incarcerated?
That would be very, very, very difficult.
Much more so than when you were there?
Far, far more difficult.
So the opportunities then for that kind of rehabilitation don't exist anymore?
I would say that's accurate. I'm sure that the department would say we do offer some post-secondary courses, but they don't lead towards a degree. And they would say that we do allow people to do distance learning if you can pay for it yourself, that sort of thing. But that's not the same thing as really getting a degree from professors that come down and there's the interaction and questions and feedback and probing. That's not the same thing.
I'm sure you must have considered this. If you hadn't gotten the degree, if you hadn't done all of that studying while you were in prison, what would your life have been?
I don't know. I don't really spend very much time thinking about what might have been. I mean, I'm a very busy person. I'm sure you are the same way. It's a matter of focus. You know, you have a life and you do what you can, the best way that you can with what's available, and you let the rest of it go.
There's a lesson perhaps for all of us, whether we've spent time incarcerated or not. As it is, James Hamm is busy with the organization that he and his wife have called Middle Ground, and many people in Arizona are extremely grateful for their work. This has been another one of Pat's personal portraits on KTAR.com.